Town tailgate. It is tailgate time. We are 1 week away exactly from opening day, the day we're recording this. It's Thursday, March 25th. Opening day is next Thursday, April 1st. So technically, Julio, this is the tailgate has already started because this is the pregame. Every spring training game until next Thursday is a pregame for the actual game. So we're tailgating right now in theory. So, double whammy, double meaning. And tailgate has started. Shout out to next week. I will be at opening day. So shout out to the people who I will be going with. Mason Livingston, Uriel Esparza, the Esparza brothers, and of course, Marco Hollingsworth. Very excited. Cannot wait till next Thursday. Should be a fun time. But we're in the tailgate.
When was the last time you were at the Coliseum?
I don't want to talk about it.
That's right.
We all know what it was.
The last time I was, it's going to be wild.
Heartbreaking loss to the Rays in the wild card game. What was
the last time I was at the Coliseum was opening day of 2018.
Wow. So you didn't go to opening day in 2019?
No, because I was in Japan watching the A's there.
That's right. So
I would have gone.
That's a better flex.
Yeah. Before we jump in, to that. Quick question. In terms of spring training, because this has been a little debate that's been going on. Eloy Jimenez got that pretty gnarly injury. He's out 5 to 6 months.
Yeah.
Yes, no question. And you want to keep brief explanation. Spring training, too long?
No, I don't know. I don't agree with that because let's say it starts like mid-March. Realistically, those injuries are going to happen mid-season then. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a scientist or a doctor, but that's just what I would guess. So I don't think that has anything to do with like preventing an injury. I think it just extends the inevitable or whatever. Because you're still getting the same amount of wear and tear in theory. But I don't know. I'm not an expert, but no.
I'm gonna say yes for the fact that I think rosters are pretty much set at this point. Nothing else is gonna happen from now until Thursday for majority of teams that are gonna be like. Yeah, go ahead.
We've seen many a position battles won in this last week, though.
Yeah, which we're going to talk about in the opening. So
yeah, so like I mean, yeah, we have one right now. So
yeah,
I would disagree with that.
Yeah. Before we go in, make sure to please follow us on Twitter if you are not already. That is at the Town Tailgate. I'd imagine we're going to be way more active as games are going to be going on, as we can actually watch games again instead of listening on radio. No offense to the radio broadcast, but it's better to see. Also, make sure to please like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. All right, man. It's time.
This week, in today's episode, we will be talking, obviously, finishing the second of 3 podcasts for our MLB season preview for the entire league with the Central in the second half. And we're going to be talking about
NL Central, tighter than I thought. Just going to say that right now.
When you were going through it and like ranking and stuff like that?
Yeah. I was like super surprised. I'm like, oh shit. Like now that I see everything on paper, like good stuff. So yeah.
I'm interested to see how your rankings ended up. Anyway, we're going to talk about a couple injuries that happened, the bullpen makeup, and the backup catcher situation. We have a winner. But first, Chris Bassett. Looks like he's going to be our ace this season. Named the opening day starter. I'll let you go. I tweeted something that I thought was interesting on the matter. I'll let you go first, though, Julio. Your thoughts on Chris Bassett being named the opening day starter?
Kick his ass, Seabass. First one of the season. All right, we got it in. Honestly, Jesus was the sexy pick, but it showed that I think he's not all the way ready for that responsibility. He's going to have plenty of opening day starts across his career. It's going to be special. But honestly, Chris Bassett has been such a fantastic story over the last couple of years, where last season he was more or less the 6th man in the rotation, kind of a swing guy in and out of the bullpen. And he turned into one of the better pitchers in the American League. And
fighting injuries a lot too.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely deserves it. Not only that, he's a fan favorite. He's probably one of the more vocal people, like players on Twitter. He's always having fun and banter with fans and stuff. I was the reason I brought up my phone. Brody Brazil had like a really cool snippet he said on Twitter, which he's like easily one of my favorite A starters in the last decade. Personality, performance. Looking forward to see the starter in a week. And yeah, he deserves it. He's had a great spring, along with honestly the majority of this rotation has been.
Yeah.
And it's against the Astros. Get a little bit revenge of the playoff loss last season. It's gonna be really exciting to see him out there. How you feeling?
I mean, I said this on Twitter in response to, I said it in the comments in response to our Twitter account, retweeting Shayna Rubin's original post about it, which, by the way, I have some thoughts on the A's beat writer situation. Tears now that the Queen Susan's gone, but I'll talk about that after this. I think we all wanted it to be Jesus. We all wanted it to be baby Jesus. We all know it's going to be him in the future. But when you look at the rotation now as it stands, like realistically, last season's numbers, spring training's numbers, experience, um, clutchness, for lack of a better word, stepped up in the right moment in the playoffs, pitched really well. Um, Seabass is our ace. He's pitched like it for the past 2 years, really. So he deserves that spot this year. We're gonna have plenty of opening days in the future where Baby Jesus is gonna be starting. It's fine. We'll see it. We'll see it in the future. It'll be exciting then. But right now, he's earned it. He's and it's gonna be fun. I can't wait to see him on Thursday in person, for the first time in 2 years. So that's exciting. I kind of assimilate it to Sonny Gray. So Sonny Gray started, I think he had like 5 attempts to start opening day for us. I think he started like 3 of them. One of them he was injured, or 2 of them he was injured or something like that. But I remember like the first opening day when he thought he was going to start, I think it was Scott Kazmir that got the start instead. And everybody was like, "Whoa, it should be Sonny Gray." Blah 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 blah. It was kind of the same feeling. Like at the end of the day, we're gonna see this guy do it for the next like 4 or 5 years. It's not that big of a deal. We miss out on it, and it's just like it's whatever. Like it's an opening day start. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I felt like it was kind of predictable, to be honest with you. I wasn't really like sweating it. Also, my boy, I was raving about him on this podcast all last season. I was riding the Seabass train when a lot of people were like, I don't know about him, Mason. But should be fun. It should be fun.
It's pretty funny too, because earlier this week I just threw out a poll on Twitter. I'm like, hey, who's gonna be the starter? Who's day one? And 56% was,
oh, sorry,
yeah.
53 votes. I always just wanted to say that.
Oh, 54 votes, but 56% voted Seabass. So a majority of votes were going to Seabass, and I'd imagine that that even if you put that number up to like if it's 108 people voted, I think it would probably still be the same.
Yeah.
And
I voted for Jesus. I'm not gonna
lie. Yeah, same. But yeah, it's super hopeful. I'm excited to see what he's gonna do. I think if anybody, we talked about how much he deserves this just because all the stuff he's been through his career and how long he's been here. But it's going to be pretty special for him to be the guy to pitch in front of fans in Oakland again for the first time in over a year, almost a year and a half or so.
Is he the last remaining piece of the Samardzija trade? I believe he is. Or not Samardzija. Yeah, Samardzija.
So it was Samardzija.
Because Marcus is gone now. Fegley's gone now.
Yeah, Fegley retired. Yeah, Jeff Samardzija and Michael Noah. Forgot about Michael Noah.
Yeah,
he hasn't done anything.
That's interesting. So
definitely won that trade.
One quick sidebar before we move on to the next subject. Yeah, so just want to talk about. So for years it was the Queen. Susan got the information first. Her tweet you could always see was at least 1 minute before everybody else's. I've been noticing a trend lately. It looks like Shayna Rubin's getting that priority. I don't know if it's seniority because all of the beat writers for the A's right now are young. So I was always wondering who's gonna fill that role and get the seniority for the inside scoop. I'm seeing a lot of 1 minute before are the Shayna Rubin tweets. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
Well,
I wonder how that's working. Because I mean,
I, to,
obviously there's no competition, but
no, no.
in our heads, it's fun to think about these things.
I think it's I think it's super interesting because now everybody's covering remotely and everybody's like, to me it's like, who's the fastest typer? Like, who's gonna be the
Yeah,
person to spit this out the fastest? So
but
who
also
knows?
who's been there the
Maybe.
longest? Who's made the most connections? And I think Shayna has 1 year on Gallegos, like literally 1 year experience. Maybe
Yeah.
Ben Ross is up there too. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. It's very interesting. Yeah, it's
All
definitely who's
right.
the fastest typer.
Next topic. We're gonna jump in. We're gonna, for the second part of the big three. You can call it the Tim Hudson, I guess. We're gonna spring training updates. We got a week left. We have some things to talk about. Chris, we finally have a backup catcher. It's been settled. The dust has settled. And
You just
Aramis
said the same word
Garcia.
twice, but that's
Yeah,
okay.
I know. I was like, shit, I said settled the first time. But yeah, Aramis Garcia will be the backup starter or the backup catcher to start the season.
Alex
Uh,
called it.
Yep, Alex called it, and she's when she was on here a few weeks ago, she was really preaching the dude's got a cannon.
Mm-hmm.
In limited time when he wasn't hurt, he really is swinging the bat well. And now he's going to get his opportunity. He's going to be the backup to Sean Murphy. Austin Allen will be starting off in AAA Las Vegas. Chris, she called it. Nostra Alex, or whatever you want the pun is, dude. She knew from day one when she was
That
on
was
here that
so
he was the
stupid.
guy. I know it's stupid, but that's my shtick. But anyways, yeah, she knew something that we all didn't know, and I think a lot of those beat writers and insiders really knew the power of this guy, and it shows.
He's been impressive, man. 11 games, he's batting 330. He doesn't. I mean, she said that he was gonna have a lot of pop in his bat, or he had a lot of pop in his bat. Doesn't look like he's seen. He's got a three. He's got three doubles, but he has no home runs. So maybe it's a too small of a sample size. But if he's gonna hit around 300 in spring training, which in the Coliseum, maybe we can hope for something around 250. I'm happy, and especially with um, the arm that he has defensively. If he can create relationships with these pitchers too, which is great. I know there's an interesting dynamic that needs to be settled now because Jonah Heim was Sean Manaya's catcher. Um, it feels like every time Manaya has gone out there with Murphy, he hasn't quite had the same stuff. I don't know if they're on different pages or what, but if he can be Sean Manaya's catcher and replace like that's important. But I think we're gonna have to see some more starts and see how that goes. But that I think that's the most important piece of who the backup catcher is to me is if he can relate to these pitchers and they can be on the same page and he can help them be successful because especially like I said with Manaya, he was the one outlier last season. Heim was his guy. When Heim was catching, he was pitching well. So he's got to he's the one who's got to really help that staff him in particular get going. But yeah, he's hitting well. It's cool. He has 10 strikeouts. That's a lot. Yikes.
Yeah, which I feel like majority of this lineup
Only
is that
four
way
walks.
though. Besides like Canna, it's
Yeah,
just big strikeout
that's been
guys.
our issue last year, and we got to figure that out though. Like it's pretty ridiculous. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, and I kind of saw this coming in the past week, and Austin Allen wasn't really moving the bar for me.
No, and he's career minor league hitter. He had 258,
Yeah,
which, you know, take that for what you will kind of thing. He had six over 6 years in the minors. He hit a total of 68 home runs, or 63. I'm sorry. So yeah, again, take it for what you want. Sean is obviously the guy. He's not going to be losing position, but it's going to be pretty interesting. We saw how impactful the backup catcher role is last season when, how bummed we all were when Jonah Heim was traded.
yeah,
And how bummed we were when Austin Allen was set down initially for Jonah Heim. So it's a really important role. And especially with someone like Bomel, former catcher, he loves his catchers, and if he really sees somebody that he believes in, he's going to give them opportunity. And obviously, he saw it with Aramis Garcia, and he was backup. So, looking forward to see how this next couple months are going to go with them.
Julio, could you make the argument that we felt the backup catcher was more important because Jonah Heim was so good last year? So like it wasn't. Could you make the argument that it came on our radar last year because we had such a good product backup from the backup catcher, both Austin Allen in a short stint, and then when Jonah Heim came up? Because to be honest with you, I haven't never really thought twice about this. Maybe Fegley a little bit because he was really good, but I've never really thought twice about this before last year.
I think it's starting to become a trend across baseball. If you look at a lot of these teams, they roll with like double. It's pretty much like, to me, it's like a running back by committee thing now at this point with catchers. Because if you look across all the big players in baseball or all the big teams, they have that dynamic of double catchers. Dodgers got Will Smith, Austin Barnes.
Yeah.
Yankees with like Gary Sanchez, Travis Ishikawa.
The Rays.
The Rays.
Rays too, I'm saying.
Yeah. But it's become a big trend.
And the Nationals. And Nationals.
And then now the Angels are trying to do it with Kurt Suzuki, and I can't remember their catcher.
Why do you think that is? You think it's rest?
It could be. It could.
Or do you think it's platooning is more popular too?
Starting to save the knees of guys over time.
It's got to be a combination of that, right? Especially after seeing the decline that like people like Buster with their bat have gotten. Like maybe you want to save their lower body a little bit more.
Guys like Buster, guys like Joe Mauer. Just I think I think it has a big part of that where you've seen by the time Buster was 30, his body was done. Same thing with Joe Mauer. The guy had so many collisions at catcher where he pretty much couldn't catch anymore, and he was not the same player offensively that he was then.
Yeah.
So it seems like to me, this is the best way to do it as opposed to like converting somebody to be a first baseman. So
in the later half of their career when they're like hitting like I mean, Joe Mauer's a great example of it. He went from hitting 30 home runs to hitting like 15, still hitting like around 300, but like not as productive. It's a good point.
All right, next topic.
Yeah.
Daulton Jefferies. He has been killing it this spring. We talked about him last week, and he is still going. He pitched a fantastic outing the other day. Over 13 innings during spring training, he has a 1.38 ERA, 20 Ks, 3 walks. He's been magnificent. It's been great because one, we've been hearing a lot of chatter about him in the minors. He's been kind of a highly touted prospect, and so far in the spring, he's showing it. So with this, Chris, fifth starter, we talked about it last week.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is going to be a topic of conversation for the next 2-3 weeks. Probably every episode we're going to be talking about this until Fires comes back. Is he the guy now? I know we talked a lot about AJ Puck. He's not quite there yet. I don't think the team feels confident enough with him to hand it over. But do you think he's the guy right now? Do you think he's going to be the guy who's going to be going against the Dodgers in that first series, the second series?
Jessica's going to hate me even more for saying this, but it's kind of making him more tradable. I'm not jumping off this train, dude. He's one of our best trade pieces we have. I'm just saying. It kind of makes him more tradable. Just saying, because his numbers are looking better. So at the deadline, when we see what things that we need, we got something to dish out there. I'm just saying she's gonna fucking hate hearing that because I wonder if she actually told him or not. I hope I run into her at opening day. I'm gonna ask her. No, I mean,
if you guys run into, you're gonna have to shotgun something. By the way, I feel like
she's gonna be working. Right. She's not gonna be.
Ah, shit. That's right. Never mind. You're right.
Yeah, but I'm gonna ask her if she told him that I said that, and if not, I'm just gonna make this case more. No, I mean, yeah, I think he deserves the job. We don't even know what Puck gets. He only had like one outing. You know, like 13 innings. Like we know what we got. 13 innings and 20 strikeouts. Like it's pretty fucking good. And again, this is a temporary fix. This is only going to be like a 3-week thing. So he's going to get like 2 or 3 starts out of it. So let's see what he can do in those 2 or 3 starts. I think now's the opportunity to to find out if it's worth it or not. Also, if he's that good, maybe it makes Frankie Montas a trade piece. Look, you got to look to the future, man. You got to think about these trade pieces, and you got to find value. So if he kills it in these 3 starts, there's a lot of value for him.
You know, I think during like one of our uh we have nothing to talk about off-season episode, so we're just gonna bullshit some stuffs episode. You talked about like, yo, we should trade Frankie Montas to somewhere like Boston.
You got to always be thinking that way, man. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand why it's acceptable for us to talk about this in the NBA, but it's not acceptable for us to talk about this in
And we got to standardize the hot stove in baseball. God damn it!
Look, man, we're fans, and we get that these guys are like human beings, but also like you signed up to be a baseball player. It's a business. You should know what you're getting into. So like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, we have, and especially being Ace fans, we have like us as fans have front office, state of minds. We don't have like fandom state of minds. We're not like gonna want to hold on to a player who's over the hill for the next 5 years. We're gonna think about it in that way, and it's the curse of being an Ace fan.
Now, take it for a grain of salt. Here's who he has pitched against throughout spring training. He pitched an inning against the Dodgers. Cool. He pitched 2 innings against Seattle, 3 against San Diego.
Against the Dodgers, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. I'm assuming he probably was in relief or something. I don't remember for February 28th. Yeah. But Kansas City and Colorado. So take what you will about this, not outside of the Dodgers and the Padres, who I'm assuming the Dodgers probably didn't have their normal roster going that day. I take that back. Mookie and Seager I pulled up the box score. Mookie and Seager were the only 2 regulars that were in that day. And then against the Padres, the regulars had Tatis, Tommy Pham. So at this point, though, I feel confident where he's faced enough, not necessarily big league talented full lineups, but I think he's faced enough big league talent overall where, I think he totally deserves a shot to be out there. And
say what you want about spring training. If you get invited to camp, you're a big league talent.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think he 100% deserves it. I know I was kind of like hyping up Colliver last week, and I'm holding on to him for a moment, and when we pick up something in a couple minutes later. But yeah, so we're on the same page then.
Yeah, I think he deserves it, and I also think that Puck needs to like kind of like work his way back, because it would be it'd be irresponsible to throw him out there after an injury to try and go 6 or 7 innings. This guy he's been fine, he's been healthy, he's had all off season to do it. I just feel like it's too risky for Puck. You could risk another injury.
And the weird thing is,
let's move on to the bullpen. Yeah. But go ahead.
The weird thing with Puck is like the last game he pitched, I want to say beginning of this week or end of last week, where his velo was down, which is I don't think it's anything
down.
Like 94.
That's
not great.
Yeah, it's not the 98, 97 he was throwing, but remember he's more of a slider guy than he was. I mean, velocity was helpful, but his slider is what was really dirty.
We'll see. Anyways, next topic. All right. We got some guys. Our roster, as we mentioned earlier, roster is getting tailored. Everything is kind of getting wrapped up in a bow and getting ready for opening day next week. That being said, we have some send downs to AAA Las Vegas, as well as AA Midland. Jordan Weems, Grant Holmes, Sky Bolt. Oh my God, Jaime Brea? No, I'm spacing out.
Luis Barea.
Thank you. And Jake Diekman. No, not Jake Diekman.
That's not Jake Diekman. Let's get the fuck out of here, bro.
I know. Anyways, he was going to be a potential outfielder. They're getting sent down to the minors. No real surprise there. Even though Jordan Weems, we're going to see him. He's going to be back up at some point.
With the additions that we got in the offseason, this is not as surprising.
No, not at all.
And when injuries come up, he'll be the first guy brought up. But there's no room for him right now. We just got too many good veterans at the end of that pen, and reliable young guys at the front. So
he hasn't had the best spring. just had his ERA in front
He
of me a
got
second.
rocked the other day. I was watching.
Yeah,
It was
he's
the
pitched.
Comcast telecast one. He was on there. And who was getting interviewed? I forgot. Someone was getting interviewed during it, and like they just gave up a home run, and it was kind of like awkward.
He's got a 4.50 ERA. Not the best stuff, but when he is on, we've seen what he can do. He's got a decent fastball, and obviously you're gonna always take that heat out there.
Yeah.
But the other big surprise is your boy, Luis Berwea, man. How you feeling?
He's been bad the past 2 weeks, and his average has pretty much dropped. So, whatever. I mean, I I wouldn't call him my boy. I just brought him up last week because he had good numbers. No, man. I mean, the fourth outfielder or third outfielder, it's we know who it's going to be. It's going to be Tom. I think they kind of I think they said it already, didn't they? Didn't
Yeah,
they announce this yesterday? Yeah, yeah,
he's been hitting the shit out of the ball. They're not going
yeah,
to let him leave.
yeah, yeah. All right, so let's move on to the last piece. Before we do the quick shout out and move to the next segment. So this is a kind of a minor thing, but it happened today. Frankie Montas left the game with a middle finger cuticle tear. He just got cut in his hand. So
Yeah.
he
Also,
hope,
cuticle is like that little piece of your fingernail
yeah,
right there.
yeah.
So gross.
It's
But
yeah. But he should be fine. He might miss a start or two, which is what makes Daulton Jefferies a little bit more important right now.
which
But
is why they're going to bring up my dude Cole Irvin.
no, it'll probably be Puck. But yeah, I mean, it's nothing too crazy to it's nothing to sweat. He'll be fine. It's nothing structural or big to like throwing muscles or the joints. It's just he just cut his finger.
The only thing
Um,
I'm concerned before we go on
yeah,
is finger injuries are so nagging for pitchers. We've seen how many times where like
yeah. Didn't
a pitcher
Montas
would get
have
a
one of these like 2 years ago?
he may have, but
Yeah,
like we've
him or
seen time and
Fiers.
time again, well, somebody will get a blister, and then it's like, oh yeah, they're gonna miss a game. Oh, actually, they're out for like 4 starts.
Yeah,
So thankfully, the rotation looks like we do have that depth right now where we can afford a couple starts if that comes to it. But also, like we talked about last week, though, those first 3 series where it's like Astros, Dodgers, Astros again, like that's gonna be a big test to start the season.
yeah. Um, yeah. We'll be fine. We got like you said, we got the depth. I'm not too concerned about it, to be honest with you. I'm trying to look up Jordan, or I mean, not Jordan, what the fuck? Grant Home stats right now. I mean, he's throwing 1.5 with 3 games, 2 starts. It's pretty good. I mean, he could probably pop back up if we need him to. Anyway, all right, let's move on to the last piece. This came out of nowhere, especially because he was in spring training. Gio Gonzalez retired the other day. So congratulations, Gio Gonzalez, former Oakland great, as Julio would say. Um, had an amazing career with us. In classic Ace fashion, we didn't want to pay him, so he left. Had a nice little stint with the Nationals. He was on a really good Milwaukee Brewers team that went pretty far. Yeah, I mean, he age has definitely got to him the past few years, so I'm not surprised. But it's just
I got
interesting,
well,
especially because
yeah,
he was
well,
in
one
camp. Especially because he was in
he's
camp this year.
35. He was 35. He was with the White Sox last year, or with the Marlins, the better half, and he just, or with the White Sox, yes, he wasn't great. 4 starts or 12 games, 4.8 ERA. He just hasn't looked the same since maybe
The
2017.
Brewers stint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, even the Brewers, I don't think he was. Oh, actually, no, had a 3.5.
He did pretty good with them because that was like a midseason trade, and he kind of he I think he was their number 2 starter in that NLCS run. And he pitched some pretty good games in the playoffs, if I
It
remember.
sounded like just age and injuries were starting to catch up to him,
Yeah,
which sucks. But think about it, man. But I gotta say, those late 2000 teams they weren't a complete mess because none of those teams were quite terrible. but like that was arguably probably the worst offensive A's teams ever. When like
Yeah.
Jack Cust was like your cleanup hitter, and then
Yeah.
you make a move
Well, we
for
had
Matt
Cargo,
Holliday.
and then we shipped him out. But
Yeah, but the highlight was that rotation, man. Well, it was like
it
Gio
was a lot of
Gonzalez.
young, potential. I'm in that one, and Gio was the only one who like really sparked it at the beginning. Like there was Trevor Cahill in his rookie season. There's Brett Anderson who also had a shit ton of potential, and he ended up, being the only one who stayed and doing really well for us. But yeah, and Dallas Braden was in that rotation. Like that was like there was a lot of potential in that rotation, but just never panned out. Hopefully, the opposite of what our young
Josh
potential
Outman.
is going to do now.
Tyson Ross was there for a minute. Brendan McCarthy.
Tyson Ross too. That's right.
Yeah, they were putting him some solid rotations. Just like Derek Barton was at first.
Yeah.
Oh, shout out
Derek
to Hideki.
Barton. Jesus.
Shout out to Hideki Matsui. He's also there.
I haven't heard that name, Derek Barton, in the longest time, and I was hoping I'd go the rest of my life without hearing it. He was just such.
I'm sorry. I know, but if what's going to play before we finish this off, we're going to play a quick game of Did We Win That Trade? When the A's traded him to Washington, the A's received Brad Peacock, Tommy Malone, Derek Norris, and AJ Cole. I'm going to say no.
Derek Norris was an all-star.
Yeah, but Gio Gonzalez was an all-star his first year with the Nationals. He also
Tommy
led
Malone
the
was
league
a quality starter for 2 seasons.
He's still pitching. No?
I think he is. Who else did you name in there?
AJ Cole, which I don't think
I don't even
ever really was.
And
he was pitching in 2020.
Who was the first one?
Brad Peacock, who I feel like I barely remember him as an A.
We traded to Houston like a year later for Jed Lowry, so yeah.
Oh, is he a part of the Chris Carter Jed trade? Yeah,
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, I would say that the Nationals won that trade for sure.
Yeah, just because Gio
Come
was.
on down.
Yeah, Gio was solid.
Trade. All right. So that's going to do it for the A's news and the big three. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to go on to part 2 of our Major League Baseball season preview with the Central Divisions, the American League Central, National League Central, which Julio teased up earlier, could have some surprises. So stick around. We'll be right back. All right, we are back. This is part 2 of our season preview. We are doing the Central Divisions. Resident Town Tailgate Dodgers fan Ronnie Weiland is here. Did I say that name? Your last name right?
You said that incredibly wrong, but let's roll with it. Let's go.
Let's pronounce it correctly for the fans.
Wyant.
I don't know. I feel like it's Weiland. Anyway.
I like that better.
Whey protein.
He is a diehard Dodger fan, but he's also a Cardinals fan. So we want to get some perspective on the Central Division. So thanks for joining us again, Ronald.
It's weird. I feel like I've known, even though we had you on here to talk Dodgers, I feel like I know you more as a Cardinals fan than a Dodger fan, actually.
Yeah, because I think you probably know.
I also met you when the Cardinals were just coming off of like a World Series appearance.
Yeah, so I probably wouldn't shut up about it.
So it was like more exciting than the Dodgers losing in the first round for like 4 years in a row.
Yes, and you probably just know more Dodger fans in general. So like when you meet a Cardinal fan in the wild, you kind of just save a place in your brain for them. Also, most people in California I meet that are Cardinal fans also root for the Dodgers. Like it's almost a perfect
interesting
diagram, a perfect circle. I don't know why that is.
Is it because like them living in LA, they just like kind of like just became like having a weird love for the Dodgers or something like that? Like they're from Missouri and then they moved to LA and just like, oh cool, I like going to baseball games. Like this.
So I met a few people like that, and then there's also a lot of people with the same story that I have, where when I was a kid was during the Roy era, and everybody kind of fell in love with Mark McGwire and just kind of like held on from there. So that's my story. Is like as a kid, I was raised a Dodger fan, saw Mark McGwire hit dingers, and was like, that's my guy.
That's
ride or
tight.
die. Let's do it. Yeah. Well, I hope that continues to happen and that nobody cheated to do it. That's what I said as a kid.
It's kind of funny too, because like I actually know a couple people who are still Chicago Bull fans because of Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Even though obviously one worked out better than the other in terms of fandoms, because like Cardinals have been a great franchise over the last 20 years.
True.
Whereas the Bulls.
Julio, I know a shit ton of friends from back home who are still Laker fans because they love Kobe. Even like during the Warriors like, insane run where it was like hard not to like jump on the bandwagon, they like stood still and they're just like, I'm still a Laker fan. And
that's very true.
You find that 90s era fan where they're like, I'm a fan of the Yankees, the Cowboys, and the Detroit Red Wings. And you're like, oh, okay, you just loved the winners in the 90s. Yeah. You had no actual thinking.
God, that Red Wings team was so good. I haven't thought about that.
They're all 90s.
They're similar to the Bulls. They just like after that, just I'm glad to be on the hockey pod here, guys. Thank you.
They're so into the 90s. You open the fridge and it's nothing but Surge and like soda.
Hey, man, if I could get Surge right now in an easy way, I would do it. I have a Surge equivalent in front of me right now.
What is that?
Have you had Mountain Dew Game Fuel? Not a sponsor.
No, I haven't drank Mountain Dew since I was 10 years old.
Hey, this is Mountain Dew Game Fuel.
From the water,
it fuels the game.
Mountain, Chris. It's the waters of the mountain.
Mountain Dew is worse for your liver than alcohol. No thanks, bro.
Hey, you tell that to David from Minari, okay? That little sweet boy, I will murder anybody for that child, and he loves Mountain Dew.
Chris, you don't know me well enough to think I care about my liver. I think
he's not wrong.
All right, let's talk baseball. This is a baseball podcast.
We're doing the same thing. Okay.
I got it, Julio.
Okay.
All right. God.
I'll have to pump camera fuel over here.
Leave that in. I don't. If no one here probably listens to Stupidity, but he regularly says that on this podcast. So do you know the rules, Ronnie? So we're ranking rotation for each division. Rotation, lineup, bullpen, and additions. And at the end of it, we're going to tally up the points and see subconsciously which team we actually thought is the best team in each division. So you understand, right?
Yeah, 5 being the best, right? 1 being the worst.
Yeah, this isn't golf. It's not the lowest score wins. It's definitely the highest score. So let's start. I wanted to start with rotations because I found it when I was doing research extremely fascinating. Because there's a lot of new faces on all these teams in both sides of the division. So let's start with that. So let's do American League first. All right. So I have the Tigers in 5th. So I have just fair warning. I have the Tigers in 5th for every single of the category. They only got 4 points for me. Total at the end. The Royals in 4th, the Twins in 3rd, the Indians. They're very interesting, but I have them 2nd, then I have the White Sox 1st. Ronnie, how did you rank the rotations?
I had that exact same order. So all the way from White Sox 1st to Tigers in dead last. Because spoiler alert, Tigers in dead last for everything. Everything.
All right, Julio, what'd you have?
I actually have 2 categories where the Tigers aren't dead last. And this is one of them.
Don't have them in dead last for everyone, huh?
Yeah. I actually have Kansas City in dead last at 1, Detroit 2, Minnesota 3, Cleveland 4, and White Sox 5. The reason I put
that was actually wrong reverse. So you had White Sox because you counted from 1 to 5. It should be the other way around. But yeah. I just want to clarify.
Golf scores.
Golf scores. I think the one thing that could be a difference maker for the Tigers not being in the bottom is Casey Mize. He was the #1 prospect, got called up last year. He pitched, whatever. But if he can kind of pitch to what has been hyped up to, then I don't think they're going to be a much better team. But I think they'll have a better rotation than, no offense to Mike Minor with Kansas City.
I just didn't recognize any of the names on the Tigers rotation list. And I look at Kansas City and I was actually kind of surprised. Like Danny Duffy's still there. Like Mike Minor went over there, Brad Keller. Like they can actually get some wins and put them together. Like on Detroit, it's just like a bunch of young kids, and I just don't recognize them enough to make me feel confident about ranking them higher. I mean, this dude, Scooball, He was born in 1996.
Tarek Screwball.
Yeah,
Great
like
name.
these motherfuckers are young, bro.
Yeah. And plus, Matthew Boyd's been pretty consistent of a start over the last couple of years. I obviously I don't know what this year's going to hold for him, but
Yeah.
he's been like a pretty valuable guy throughout that time. Nothing special, but he's not going to be a game changer either.
Yeah.
But besides the point, there's a reason why I had them all the way down, and the White Sox, and all of us had the White Sox won. There's a reason why.
I think that as far as like the Tigers like rotation's concerned, I think there's a lot of upside. It's just a lot of like also unknown, like you said, young, not necessarily sure what to expect, but not expecting a whole lot.
Yeah.
If anything, that's really kind of where it's at. It's more like I put them last just because it's a bunch of names I don't recognize and a bunch of things I'm not sure of. Like,
Let's call this team what it is. It's a rebuild, and they're still rebuilding.
Yeah.
So why do we have the White Sox won?
Because of Lucas Giolito. I mean, do I need to say anything more? Like, you winner, boom. Like, you could say the same thing with Shane Bieber at Cleveland, but then you see like after Plesac, it just like it kind of falls off pretty dramatically for the Indians rotation. Savali's fine. He was really good last year. Was he the one who got hurt, or was it Plesac that got hurt last year? One of those two guys
both
got
did.
hurt.
Plesac. I think Plesac did. No, wait, no. Plesac was the one that got in huge shit because he broke COVID protocols.
That's right. No.
Oh yeah.
Was
Good
that
times.
Plesac, or was that
it was Plesac.
Clevenger, I thought.
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
Both. Actually, it was both.
Yeah, it was both of them.
Yeah, they went out drinking all night in Chicago, right? Wasn't that the whole?
Yes.
Great town to drink in, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Good to know. I mean, those guys are good. I know Plesac's young, and I think last year was his rookie season, so I'm not confident enough to like rank them higher. But Shane Bieber is obviously lights out. He's very interesting.
Yes.
But yeah, dude, Lucas Giolito just fucking destroyed people last year, and to add Lance Lynn on top of that, who was arguably the best top 5 pitcher last year in the American League on a shit team. And then also to add Dallas Keuchel, Dallas Keuchel was there last year, but coming off of a pretty good, 60 games, a pretty good season last year. I mean, their top 3 is just fucking dirty. They're going to destroy. Their top 3 alone is better than anybody else in the division. And if I'm ranking it like in terms of tiers, it's like the White Sox are 1, and then it's like 50 feet of crap, to quote Moneyball, and then there's everybody else just because of that top 3 alone.
Yeah, and I think the real wild card to me for that rotation is going to be Dylan Cease. He had some flashes last year where he's only 26. I think he's kind of figuring some shit out.
So many young guys.
He has potential. Like, if Carlos Rodon's going to be your number 5 starter, you're in some pretty good shape.
Yeah, Chris hit the nail on the head. I just think it's not even close as far as rotation with White Sox and everybody else. I think the Indians are like there, but I don't think they're close as far as like dealing with those top 3.
They're too young. There's a lot of really cool guys there. Tristan McKenzie's dope.
A lot of potential.
I don't think they're ready to really help put that team to where they were.
And like, we're not talking about the Twins, so we should just bring them up real quick, just so that, and then we can move on. The Twins are solid. They have a solid rotation, but when Kenta Maeda is your ace, he's good, but it doesn't move the needle for me, you know. No. But after that, like, it's solid. Their 1 through 5 is solid, except for J Happ, who's like 50 years old. He literally in his picture has a gray beard. Like, it's hilarious.
There's just not enough.
I did not realize he was that old.
The Twins just don't have enough.
50, he's 40, but yeah.
Kenta finished top 3 Cy Young award last year, so it was pretty solid.
I know, but dude. I mean, at the end of the day, he's still, and he won 18 games for the Dodgers, which is great, but it's still like, it's not a name. It's not a Lucas Giolito. Like,
no,
call it what it is.
But I was going to say though, it's just like, Barrios last year was so all over the place.
Yeah.
And then like when your 3-4 guys are like Michael Pineda, who's been hurt, and J Happ, who again is 50, and there's too many what ifs. If they can at least hit their floor as a rotation, I think they can still be in good shape. But it's just like, it's so hard. Like the ceiling you can get with those 3-4 guys are like, you don't know.
We're so casually just throwing 10 years onto J-Happ's age.
Every time we talk about it.
For the listeners, he's not 50 years old.
70-year-old.
This is an exaggeration. He's not 50.
When J-Happ returned from Vietnam,
he sounds 40. That's the thing, though. That name, I think he's always been 40.
Yeah, what's up? I'm Jay.
My name is Daniel Plainview, and this is my associate, J-Happ.
Apologies to all the Hap heads out there, just in case. I don't know how many Hap heads are listening.
I mean, what, a Blue Jays fan? I don't know if we have any that listen to this.
All 19 Blue Jays fans.
All right, let's move on to National League. All right, so I had the Pirates in 5th, and again, you're going to see a lot of Pirates on the 5th spot in my rankings. The Reds in 4th, the Cubs in 3rd, the Brewers 2nd, and then the Cardinals teed off for me. This one was actually a really fun exercise because I was pretty torn between the Cardinals and Brewers for 1, and then the Cubs and Reds for 3. I think you could cut it either way, depending on what you prioritize, but the Cardinals having Jack Flaherty lead it off just kind of like sold it for me.
I'll go and take it next before.
Sorry.
Ron, go ahead, Julio. Go ahead.
Yeah, before Ron. I already know what Ronnie's going to say and all that. So
we have some bias here.
Yeah, exactly. At the bottom, this is again. I think Chris and I talked pre-show about this the night before when I'm like, I'm surprised about how I did these rankings. Look into it. Bottom, Pittsburgh. Yeah. Cubs, God, they're broken. Really broken rotation now. 3 I have the Cardinals, 2 I have Milwaukee, and 1 actually have Cincinnati.
Okay.
All right. Let's let
Ronnie go. Let's let Ronnie go.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think we need to go over the rules again. I feel like Julio might have missed the rules. I had the Pirates in last. And then I had the Cubs in 4th.
Julio,
Reds
this is your
3rd.
game, and you don't understand the rules.
Reds in 3rd. And then it was actually close for me, but I put Brewers 2nd, Cardinals 1st.
Okay. All right, Julio, explain yourself.
Please.
To me, okay, here's the biggest thing.
I just really like Wade Miley.
I love the color red.
No, here's the thing. The Cardinals rotation, yes, Jack Flaherty was great.
That'll be a home run by Castellanos.
I think after that, though, there's too many question marks for me. There's too many question marks with guys like Miles Mikolas. I know Adam Wainwright was excellent last year, but again, he's somebody who's actually 40. Or he's going to be turning 40.
He's 39, thank you very much. He hasn't hit Hap level yet, but he's almost
Carlos
there.
Martinez has been kind of up and down for a bit. Same thing with Ponce de Leon. There's just too many question marks for me with the rest of that rotation. And there's not, to me, there's not a legitimate number 2 where I can be like, all right, if Flaherty's going to have a shit day, I know the following day they're going to bounce back because X person's there. And which is why I put the Brewers in front of him. I think the Brewers have a potential with Corbin Burns and Brendan Woodruff to be like
you're burying the lead here. Why are the Reds first?
So because Sonny Gray was awesome last year. Sonny Gray has been
excellent. There's your bias, Ron.
I was waiting for it.
Sonny's been awesome since he's gone there. Luis Castillo is a great strikeout machine. And I think the rotate, like whatever they're doing pitching wise with their pitching coach has been great because, Trevor Bauer got a sign last year. And I could have been watching kind of too much foolish baseball stuff on YouTube. But kind of a wild card could be like Taylor Mall. He actually was like a pretty under the radar season last year, and I was looking him up. And cool, Wade Miley. But to me, I think if you look at every other division, this is probably the weakest division in terms of rotations.
1,000%.
Yeah, I agree.
Once you get past it, you're like, oh well. You could even make an argument that the Cubs could be one that like, I get that. Kyle Hendricks is pretty neat.
Yeah.
I 100% see where Julio's coming from, aside from Reds being first. But in regards to the Cardinals, there's
that one go.
There's a lot of question marks. I based this off of kind of like the potential that they have as well.
Wainwright's a potential Hall of Famer. I just don't know why we're not giving him credit. Like Julio's just like after Flaherty, it just falls off. A potential.
It's because it's.
I think Kim and I based this also off Kim and Mikolas being hurt. But I think that's good because I think that gives Gant, who's been named in the starting rotation, to a chance, and I think he could surprise a lot of people. I had the Cubs low because they don't throw hard. Barely anybody on that rotation throws over 90, and I don't know in this modern MLB how long that's sustainable unless you're just throwing like just nasty stuff. Yeah, the Reds are fine. I just don't know. Like I think I mentioned this in like before we started recording. Everything to me about the Reds is just like shrugging and going, sure, that's a team. Yeah, like those guys play the baseball. And then the Brewers, I battled between them and the Cardinals for 1 and 2 because I think the Cardinals have a lot of upside and potential, but the Brewers it's nearly the same as last year, right? So it's like I can expect I already know what I can expect from the Brewers.
And their problem last year, the reason why they weren't as successful as the year before, is their offense.
Yeah. So like the pitching's not the problem. So that's why
pitching was consistent last year.
That's another mainstay through most of what I'm going to say about the Brewers is just like I don't know how much is different. They have some we'll get into it in additions, but I think
they also lost some people too.
Yeah.
Interesting, but. For me, I just don't know what Lindblom is going to do. I don't know if he's going to be a bullpen guy or a starter, and if he's
maybe a legend,
or if he's going to be a productive or not. Because last year was pretty bad, and he signed that massive like $35 million contract, so he's got to do something. But like their 1 through 4 is fucking solid. Woodruff, Burns, Hauser, and Anderson. Like you know what you get with those guys, and they're gonna put out quality starts every single start, and you know that you're going to get that. But nothing moved the needle for me like Flaherty, which is, when at the end of the day, like me and Julio talked about this a lot when the A's lost in the American League or in the ALDS, you need that dog to go out in game 1 and like certify a win for you. None of these teams have that except for maybe the Reds. But then again, like, kind of like what you said, making fun of Julio, it just falls off pretty, at least there's potential there, but it falls off. Evidence at least shows that it falls off quite a bit after Sonny Gray. So it's like, I can't.
I think the NL Central is going to be so interesting to watch because I think in previous years, right, the NL Central has been like that's like a class division, right? Like you had the Cubs, you had the Brewers, and you had the Cardinals that we're all like, oh, these are solid teams. Like these are teams that we have to watch out for that can be the best, not only in the division, but like in the whole league. But this year, just like looking around reading, nobody really knows like what to say. Like the Cardinals have a lot of question marks, which we'll get to in other categories. The Cubs, it feels like the wheels have fallen off. The Brewers,
you guys are so right about the Cubs. I mean, this just looks like a fucking mess. Like they were just like they hobbled to put together a rotation. Like Zach Davies was in the bullpen last year. He's going to be their number 2 starter. Like this is insane.
Yeah, and then the Brewers, it's just like I think you mentioned it. Just nothing. Nothing grabs me. It's not necessarily exciting, and I think that goes for like their whole team for the most part. Like it's not to say they're not going to be good, but and they could end up being easily the best out of these teams. But it just doesn't. Like right now, if I'm just looking at it, it just doesn't like. Oh, that's a team I need to watch, right?
Yeah, and
let's see if it lives up to your word. As we go talk about lineups next.
Let's finish off with just saying that like the Pirates are just underwhelming. That's why we didn't talk about them. So
yeah.
All right, let's move on to lineups. Okay, American League Central. The Tigers are in 5th again. The Indians are in 4th for me. The Royals 3rd, Twins 2nd, and then the White Sox 1st for I think pretty obvious reasons. Ronnie,
do you want to go first, Julio? Actually,
sorry. No, go ahead.
Nate?
All right,
okay.
let's do still.
Tigers last. I do have the Indians 4th, Cleveland. Twins. I went Twins 3rd, Royals 2nd, and then White Sox 1st.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I have Tigers 5th, Kansas City 4th, Cleveland 3, Minnesota 2. And Chicago 5. Yeah, Royals roster, not bad.
But yet you still have them behind the Indians. What about the Indians like lineup that really like pushes the needle for you, Julio?
Jose Ramirez. Jose Ramirez it's been a perennial MVP candidate in the American League for the last 3 years, even if without Lindor. I'm not a fan of Rosario at all. I think they still have some potential.
Rosarios.
Yeah, I think they still have some potential bop in that lineup with guys like Josh Naylor had a great postseason in the times they did play. Franmil Reyes was also like a pretty high tell prospects when the Padres traded him. And like Cesar Hernandez is also pretty low key. I think they still have some potential to hit some bop in that lineup, but that's why I had to give a little bit. I would say they're probably one and the same, but I think just having Jose Ramirez in that lineup just pushes the needle a little bit more over the Royals lineup.
I'm interested to see how many games the Cleveland scores more than 5 runs. I don't know. To me, it just doesn't feel like there's like a lot of run potential there. But yeah, and then for the Royals, I don't know. Yeah, I was just surprised at that team that they had. There's a lot of upside to it, and I think I got caught up with that. And I also think that it seems like the AL Central, we have a clear 5 and a clear 1, and then the teams in the middle are just like duking it out. But like none of those 3 teams are as bad as the Tigers, and I don't think any of them are as good as the White Sox. So.
I had the same. Like, I'm looking through the Royals lineup. Like, well, obviously Salvador Perez. I'm like, oh, Carlos Santana. Oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Hunter Dozier. Oh, wait. Andrew Benintendi. Wait.
Yeah, I forgot about Benintendi. That's
what the
right.
Fuck? And I'm just like, wait, this is interesting. Okay, all right. The White Sox are just fucking stacked.
Yeah.
I mean,
even with
literally every position, like
even with the Eloy Jimenez injury, they're still like
the White Sox are going to be that team this year, right? Where like people that don't usually follow baseball are like, wait, that Chicago team is good. Like, why is that? Like, that's really what's going to feel like. There's always one team that's like, wait, that team's good. It used to be like some years it was like Milwaukee, and then like Tampa Bay last year, right? But like, there's always like the non-baseball like diehards that are like, wait a minute, the Chicago White Sox. That's how it's going to feel this year. That's what I'm thinking. The White Sox are going to be the non-endemic people's surprise.
It's
team.
just like every position can pound the ball out of the park, and yeah. And they have my boy Nick Madrigal, who might be my cousin. But yeah, it's just they're just so fucking good.
The only thing I have to say is like, I don't know is like their DH slot, but it's like if that's your only place where you're feeling washy about, then you're in great shape.
And just I want to touch on the Twins real quick. Other than Byron Buxton, obviously, they just have a lot of consistent hitters in their lineup, which is why I was surprised that Julio. Wait, what'd you rank them, Julio, again?
I had them second, or I had them.
Oh, for
second best.
I thought I heard third.
No, they're fucking boppers still.
If Byron Buxton can just find I've been seeing him on the like top 25 like prospect list for what feels like the past 6 years, and like eventually at some point he's gonna put it together because he has so much talent. If he can do that and he can be like the star of this team, like they're in really good shape. Who would you say is their best? Who would you say is their best player, Julio?
On the Twins?
Yeah.
Lineup wise, it's pretty wild to say this for probably Nelson Cruz.
I don't know. I think it's Josh Donaldson, man. Like
he wasn't. He was hurt last year though.
He's past his prime. Yeah, I know. But he's past his prime, so it's kind of weird saying that. They don't really have that clear star. Miguel Sano is great, but all he does is hit home runs. He strikes out a shit ton.
And then Max Kepler is pretty nice too.
Yeah.
But in terms of just straight hitting, I think it's Nelson Cruz.
The DH.
But
that's never a good sign.
DH. I know.
It's a great sign that hey, the best guy on your roster is the DH is usually probably why they're not in the top discussion.
It's very old school. 100%. It's like David Ortiz all those years with the Red Sox kind of thing. All right, let's go.
Yeah,
NL Central.
Yeah. All right, so I have the Pirates 5th, the Reds 4th.
You don't say.
The Brewers 3rd, the Cardinals 2nd. I had the Cubs 1st, man. The Cubs surprised me. All right, guys.
Okay. I have the you guys are gonna be disappointed. I have the Pirates last. Even though Key Brian Hayes, shout out. I have the Reds 4. I have the Cubs 3. I have the Brewers 4, or the Brewers 2, and then Cardinals at the top.
Yeah, I went Pirates last, Reds 4th, Brewers 3rd, Cubs 2nd, Cardinals 1st. I did not mean to put the Cardinals first in all these categories. It just looked that way to me. Most of these are close. All right. Most of these are very close. Like I think this one might have actually been the closest one for me.
But like in your defense, though, that Cardinals lineup, they don't have a hole. I think all those guys are solid. Some are excellent with like Arenado and Goldschmidt, but like if Dylan Carlson and like Tyler O'Neill kind of hit to where they have been in the minors, like this could be one of the best lineups in the National League.
Yeah, that was what decided it for me. Is like they have star power, but then there's like 2 or 3 positions where it's like a young kid like in his first or second season that hasn't proven himself yet. That's why I just couldn't put him 1. Whereas like you look at the Cubs and they have an above average veteran in every position, and then obviously they have their stars in Bryant and like Happ and Javi Baez, but like you know there's big league talent at every position.
Yeah, what it came down to me was I think the Cubs might have a better 2 through 6, but I personally feel like the Cardinals have a better like 1 through 8, right? So yeah, that's kind of what it came down to me. Is like I averaged it out and was like I think the Cubs middle of the lineup, that like what they have is like 2 through 6 is going to be rough for any team to kind of get around that, but I think there are some holes, and even though I do think there is some like you said some quality players in every position, I don't know. I like the youth that the Cardinals bring. This might be something to bring up since we talked about it. The Cardinals' age difference throughout their entire team is absolutely bonkers. Like that, like from the young guys to like 25-year-olds paired with like Molina, you have Wainwright, who's 10 years older than the next like person that's currently in the starting rotation. The Cardinals, which could be a good thing, right? I think that helps a team kind of stay focused, right? With like veterans that age.
God damn, Dylan Carlson was born in 1998. That makes me feel old.
That's upsetting, very upsetting. But yeah, I think I think that's what a good team should have, right? Is like a mix of young people trying to prove themselves and old guys that need a spark lit under them. But yeah, to me, it was just 1 through 8 on the Cards feels better than 1 through 8 on the Cubs.
Julio, you brought this up before we started the episode. Paul Goldschmidt, when did he turn 34 years old? That's a good example of that. Matt Carpenter is 36 years old. Yeah, so I get exactly what you're talking about. I just want to touch on the Brewers real quick.
Yes, please.
So they added Colton Wong, but I feel like losing Moustakas is a big loss.
He wasn't there last year though. He was already with Milwaukee or the Reds.
Sure. But still, I mean, I guess maybe I'm comparing it but last year they had so many injuries that I'm like not even thinking about their team. They like barely squeaked into the playoffs. I'm kind of comparing it to that NLCS run team that they had 2 years ago. But I mean,
that's
after Yelich, it's just like kind of aging guys, Jackie Bradley and Lorenzo Cain and these guys. Like, I don't know. I mean, Travis Shaw.
Yeah, it's a team that's definitely put together. Like the Brewers defensively should be really good.
Yeah,
that's what it looks like. But hitting wise, it's like maybe I don't know. It's the same thing I've been saying about the Brewers and the other categories we've done. It just feels like that's a team. There they are. Like it's a solid team. Not much has changed, but like I guess like stuff has changed, but it doesn't necessarily feel that way, right? Yeah, it just feels like the Brewers are going to be the Brewers.
So I actually really like this team. No, Omar Narvaez, I think, kind of got the cold shoulder in Seattle, and he put up some pretty good seasons in Seattle. And it just because you're playing up there, people forget about you. Kissenhura, I think, is going to be a star, and that I think he's kind of the second guy that Christian Yelich is needed, and especially if your backup's Daniel Vogelbach, who if you need him to play every 4 days and maybe hits you a home run, you'll take it. Travis Shaw, he's there. Lando Arcia's there, but I really love that outfield depth. Yeah, I know they're older guys, but if you can roll out an outfield of Christian Yelich in left, Kane or Bradley in center, and then vice versa in right, or put Nevasil Garcia, that's still a really good outfield. You know what they're going to do. Lorenzo Cain still got some pop in the bat. Same thing with Jackie Bradley Jr. Yelich had a down year, but it's like 2020 is kind of a wash of a season. I like them. I like the build of this team a lot. If they can make another move to maybe find an upgrade in third over Travis Shaw or something, I think they're still going to be there at that lineup.
Hey, Julio, Jacob Nottingham, former Nashville great, because he never made it up to the big.
I was going to say, I know that. It's familiar.
Yeah, he's on the Brewers. I don't know when he made it over there. I don't know. Yeah, but that's cool.
Do we have anything to say about the Reds and Pirates?
No.
You Brian Hayes.
I don't know. Hold on. Let me pull up this roster and see if there's anything.
Well, the Reds.
They have Mike Moustakas.
The Reds.
They're just getting old.
Yeah, the Reds felt like that team.
A man of faith.
When I was looking at it, I kept saying when I was looking at the Reds, I was just like, oh, that guy. That's that guy. All right, I remember that guy. That's like the Reds team to me was just a bunch of like, oh, that guy. All right, that's where he is.
Yeah, Nick Castellanos will hit 35 home runs, and then everybody else will just be there.
Yep.
Yeah, their age is starting to show.
I feel like this is
Mike
where the
Moustakas. This could have been the opportunity for the Pirates.
The Pirates could be fun because I have no expectation about this lineup. Like
the only person, I think the only person that I would want to like keep an eye on is Nick Senzel because he was kind of a highly touted prospect for a minute. And if he can kind of have a season, then that would be the only reason I could see this lineup moving up a little bit if he actually kind of becomes the player that he was in the minors.
All right, bullpen, which will probably be a short conversation, but
honestly, for both leagues, I think
I'm making it a 40-minute one, guys.
Oh God,
for the NL Central, I've got notes.
Tigers in last again, as I said earlier. Indians in fourth, Royals in third. White Sox, they're not red. White Sox are in second, and the Twins have first. Ronnie, how did you make up?
Same exact order. So
yeah.
You said Twins first, right? That's what
yeah.
Twins first, Tigers last, and then same thing you had. Not much for me to talk about.
Yeah, Julio.
Same thing. The only difference is I actually have the White Sox first
because of Hendricks.
Because of Hendricks, because of Michael Kopech. We saw what he fucking honestly, if Michael Kopech didn't get hurt in Game 3, the A's would have lost. We would have lost that wild card game, and it would have been the White Sox playing the Astros because he was just like mauling that lineup.
For me, it was the middle of the bullpen for the Twins that ranked me higher, more reliable guys, some more veterans. Whereas like the White Sox are just like it. Other than their two guys at the back end, it's pretty underwhelming, and I would be a little bit concerned if my starters don't do well in games for the White Sox. If I'm a White Sox fan,
my mistake. I meant to say Garrett Crochet was one.
This bullpen is not great in this division. Yeah, in both. It's pretty. Yeah, I would. They're going to beat up on each other, but if I'm a fan of one of these teams, when it gets to the playoffs, I'd be very concerned because we all know that the playoffs is a bullpen game. The only team that's won a World Series in the last like 6 years from their starters carrying them is the Nationals, and that's because they have had an insane top three, and they rode those three guys. Yes. I think we were talking about this last podcast. One of those three guys pitched in every single game of their top rotation guys. So it's like they really rode that. And you can't. I don't think the White Sox can do that. I don't think they have I don't think that they don't have the experience really to do that. So
I expect whatever on both sides of these divisions, whichever team or even like a few teams that are fighting for the division win, I see a lot of moves happening around the trade to 1,000%. try to bolster that bullpen. Just because, I none of these teams I have the depth, at least currently when I just look at it, to go deep into a playoff run, right? Maybe like a first round win. But aside from that, when you start getting into the 7-game series, I don't know what any of these teams are going to do on paper.
It's funny because like as an A's fan, I'm looking at this like White Sox roster and I'm like, man, like if we get in a playoff series with them, like this is gonna fucking suck. And then I look at their bullpen and I'm like, oh,
never mind.
It'll be all right.
If
we can get Giolito out of the 7th inning, like the 7th, 8th, and 9th, like we can score some runs on those guys.
Yeah, it's the ceiling is the roof for that that bullpen. Like if Kopech and Crochet can actually if they can continue what they kind of looked like at the end of last season, they have a really great bullpen that's going to be heading up where even if the rest of the guys are kind of wishy-washy, I think it kind of gives them the advantage of that division a little bit. But also, again, dude, the Reds, that bullpen, a lot, you guys are talking about, hey, veterans and familiar names.
We're still on the American League, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, the Royals. Oh my God, spacing out. Thank you. But yeah, the Royals are still putting together a solid bullpen, like having
Jesse Hahn making an appearance in this bullpen. Haven't heard that name.
Oh, great.
But dude,
yeah, Jesse Hahn,
Greg Holland, and Wade Davis at the end. Like, what in the fuck did that happen?
Yeah, and then Josh Stommett was he looks like he's going to be the closer of the future for that team. Like, again, man, they're looking solid.
Yeah. All right, let's move to the National League. Pirates in last again. I had the Cardinals in fourth. Cardinals I did not like whatsoever. The Cubs in third, the Reds in second, and the Brewers in first because the Brewers. Anyway, I'll let you go. Go ahead, Ronnie. I'll talk about it afterward.
I put Cubs in last, Cubs in fifth, Pirates in fourth, Cardinals in third, Reds in second, Brewers in first.
I have the Pirates in last, the Cubs in fourth.
I said Pirates in last, and you said, ooh.
No,
and then you have them in last too.
I'm the only one here who respects the Pirates a little bit.
I think I was doing that as me being cheeky. Like, we put them in last again. Oh no.
You cheeky bastard.
Yeah, but they're last. The Cubs fourth, the Reds in third. Cardinals second, and the Brewers first.
I think the Cubs have no idea what they're doing. That's kind of why I put them in last. I put them below the Pirates because the Pirates at least have some solid experience. I feel like the Cubs are still we're a week out, or not even a week out, a handful of days out, and the Cubs are we'll figure out a bullpen. We'll
Craig Kimbrell looked terrible.
Yeah, they're
time as a Cub so far.
They're
he's just getting up there in age, man. Like, he's a Hall of Famer. He, one of the best of probably the 2000s. But I mean, he's not even that old.
33.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe his stuff is just washed at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I put the Cardinals at third, which spoiler alert, I think is the lowest I have them in any of these rankings, and that's just because I think there's potential there, but it's not easily found. I think they have some good right-handers, but they're one of those teams that I think that I was mentioning earlier. The Cardinals seem primed to, hey, look, we have a team that could go pretty far here. We need to get some actual bullpen arms. But yeah, aside from that, they have right-handers, but not much else going for them.
It seems like there's four guys who could be the closer, and you just don't know yet, which is not a bad. It's not a bad thing, and that's kind of why I put them where they're at, because there is a lot of depth in that pen. But it's just we don't know, and that's probably the reason. And plus, if you Devin Williams and Josh Hader 1-2, that's all I need for a pen like that. Those guys are just out of world talents.
The rest of the guys are at least solid, though. You know what I mean? They're reliable, where you can trust that they're not going to. Well, I mean, maybe they will, but you could have some confidence that they're going to get you through the rest of the game. That's kind of what was the selling point for me. All right.
Yeah.
Should we finish off with the additions, and then we'll do this fun little social experiment at the end?
Yeah, Cubs bullpen though.
It's fucking brutal.
Really bad.
It's fucking brutal.
Yeah, finish it off.
The Cubs are getting some. I think the Cubs are going to get higher numbers than they deserve because the Reds and Pirates are in this division. But I don't think the Cubs are great. I don't think the Cubs are very good at all.
Do you think Theo Epstein just has phoned it in? He's like, yeah,
he left.
I'm going to be the. That's true. He did leave.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. And then they just couldn't figure it out when he was gone.
No, nobody figured it out.
He's like, I'm going to be the next commissioner of baseball. Fuck this. It's all yours. All right. So for the additions, Tigers are in last. I don't even know if they made any. Twins are pretty much just running it back, so they're also down there. The Indians lost to guys, so but that's cool. The Royals, I Honestly, I was thinking about putting the Royals first in this one, but because the White Sox got Lance Lynn, that was kind of the selling point for me.
Yeah, this was like a division of like least excitement as far as like additions. Yeah, Tigers because they needed to make additions and didn't. Twins, like you said, same team. Yeah, first White Sox, and then I've been battling back and forth, but I'll put Cleveland third, Royals second, and White Sox first because of Lance Lynn. That's all it literally took to.
And Liam Hendricks, but I'll let Julio go, and then I'll touch on that.
I actually had Cleveland last just because they didn't make. Not only did they not make any moves, they traded Lindor, and the return is pretty mediocre, and it was extremely mediocre. Detroit 4. I actually kind of like to see what Nomar Mazara and Robbie Grossman are going to do out there in the outfield. I don't think they're going to be anything special, but it's better than what Cleveland did.
Yeah, Robbie.
Minnesota. Yeah, Minnesota 3, Kansas City 4, and then I have the White Sox just going over the top with Lance Lynn, Liam Hendricks.
Again, you had your rankings backwards for listeners to clarify.
Look, people figured out by this point.
Yeah,
we don't need to hold their hand to this talk.
We got to re-record everything now, Julio.
Apparently, I have to hold Julio's hand through this game.
Yeah, but
just dub over him. Just dub over the right numbers.
Again, the consistent trend. The fucking Royals.
Yeah.
Building a pretty decent squad right now.
They put their money where their mouth is for sure. And, what sold it for me for the White Sox again was they got the best closer available at the free agent market. They got the second best starter available they traded for him, but, available. He was out on the trade block. So that's kind of what sold it for me. But, dude, yeah, I mean, the Royals, I forgot that they got Andrew Benintendi. like that. That's a pretty good addition right there. It's impressive. It's very impressive. They could definitely be interesting. I think if it was an 8-team playoff again, they definitely could make a run, but it's not. So
I wish it was an 18 playoff.
Yeah.
Benintendi, Carlos Santana, Mike Minor. They've made some little. I can't remember if Gerard Dyson was already there or not. He was. We're getting old. Gerard Dyson, 37.
Jesus, that is old.
That's
rough.
All right,
let's move on to the NL.
Ron, do you have anything to add on here?
No, I said everything I needed to. Right. Yeah, I think this division did other than the White Sox, and nothing else really stood out to me.
Yeah,
Royals added people, which will bring me to the NL Central list.
I have the Pirates in last again. The Reds in fourth, the Cubs in third, the Brewers second, and then the Cardinals first. Arenado, dude.
Yeah, literally, I had Pirates, Reds, just because same thing we talked about in the AL. I just felt like those teams did nothing. So, Cubs in third, Brewers in second, and then Cardinals in first. We could talk about it after Julio gives his rankings.
Yeah, I'm actually, I'm making a quick change on mine on the go. Nothing.
Pirates first, baby. Woo!
Pirates Pirates in fifth. I actually had Cubs fourth, but I'm going to switch them with the Reds. The more I think about the jock sign, the more I like it. So Reds fourth, Cardinals third, Brewers second, and then Cardinals just blew it over the top.
I hate the jock signing.
It pretty much interesting. So pretty much all these teams made like one move. And it's about how much you value that like one real move. And like for the Cubs, it was Jock. For the Brewers, it was what's his face at second base?
They made two there. Colton Wong and Jackie.
They got
Bradley
Wong,
Jr.
Bradley Jr., Anderson Shaw, Boxberger.
Is Jackie Bradley Jr. going to be a starter? It seems like he's the fourth outfielder.
I think he's going to be a starter.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, it came down to Cardinals, Brewers, and I went Cardinals because Arenado is way more impactful than the five people the Brewers got. I think if you're doing quantity over quality, then Brewers go first because they added more, but I don't think that is. Yeah,
I just didn't really consider the Bradley move. I considered I just kind of ranked it based on their best move because it kind of felt like all these teams made one move, and
yeah, I agree. I don't like the Jock signing because I'm not sold, man. I don't know. He kind of got shielded from a lot of the worst part of his game in LA. Like he's gonna have to hit against lefties. He's not used to hitting consistently against lefties, so let's see how that is. I'm not saying it could be bad. I'm saying I don't like it because I don't know what Jock is fully capable of, because he has kind of just been a role player, like a plug-and-play player the last handful of years in LA.
He's still hitting 25 home runs as a plug-and-play player, though. You get more at-bats. You could say maybe you add a couple home runs to that list. Maybe his average goes down, but it's a pretty productive player compared to what they had.
True.
Is he an upgrade over Kyle Schwarber? I'd say yes.
That's true. Yeah, I think the upside's there. I just want to see a full season from him now that he is that guy and see what he puts together.
Julio, do you have anything more to add?
Not really. Even though shout out to the Reds for signing Sean Doolittle. But that's it. All right.
Tight.
Let's do some tally up the points.
All right, let's go Pirates.
So American League, I had 5 points for the 4 points for the Tigers. No surprise there. Fourth place, I had 11 points for the Indians, which I was kind of shocked. I thought that'd be lower. 3 points third place, I had 12 points for the Royals. 14 points for the Twins, and the White Sox just like fucking ran away. Almost had a perfect game at 19 points for first.
Wow.
For me.
The way it was trending, I thought Kansas City would be above Minnesota, but
Same. I was a little shocked by that.
It was bullpen probably that put them over, right? That's what I got to believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that says more about. I think the Royals could be better than people think they are.
Yeah.
And everybody else just seems kind of put in their spot. I think the only interesting part there is the Royals.
Yeah. What were your rankings?
Sorry, I thought we were doing that was the total ranking.
That was mine. Oh,
sorry, my bad. My personal rankings would be the Tigers in last. I put the Twins fourth, Cleveland third, Kansas City second, White Sox first.
Interesting.
I'm just high on Kansas City now that we just keep talking about them.
Yeah.
I mean, I still think the White Sox are going to run away with that division. Yeah. I think when I say second, I mean a very distant second.
So I had Detroit 6 points in last. I had a tie with 10 points between Cleveland and Kansas City, and if I'm going to have to give the advantage to one of them, it's probably going to be Kansas City. Mm-hmm. So they'll be in third. Minnesota is at 14 points, but with the complete shutout at 20 points, I have the White Sox winning the division. And if before we're going to say our dark horses, I think we're all in the same boat. Kansas City. City's built a really good roster.
Especially after doing this little exercise, it's pretty clear to me.
Yeah.
Like I said, as far as like a dark horse can be in that division, where I think the White Sox are going to dominate it, right? Yeah. Like it's running against Secretariat is what it feels like.
Now, even though they're not going to win the division, can you, in a full 162, do you think there's even a chance where they can be a wild card team? Which is. I personally don't think so. I think the Twins are still going to be ahead of them, but
I think if they start off hot and they're in like second place by like July, then it's like you have to consider at least like trying to make a move for a starter. Like let's say like I don't know, off the top of my head, I'm totally failing at this, but like the Reds,
here I'm going to play a game with the both of you.
Like the Reds, if Sonny Gray is like available, then you got to consider it. Go ahead.
All right, I'm going to play a game. I'm going to name some teams. You're going to tell me if you think the Royals will be better than said teams.
Okay.
Angels.
No.
Okay. Boston.
Maybe.
Yeah, it'll be close. I would say no, but not by a lot.
Yeah.
I think like a handful of games.
Toronto.
No.
Okay. Houston.
No.
All right. So we have a pretty. You say yes?
Oh, I said no.
Okay. All right. So they're probably like
that exercise made it a lot more realistic.
Yeah.
But that's what I was saying. It's like
that's just how bad this division is. Yeah. That's just how bad this division is.
They're a dark horse in this division, but that means literally nothing outside of this.
The fact that we can't confidently say I don't think they're better than the Angels just show you like they're not there yet.
One of those three teams in the East is gonna be one of those wild card teams, and then it's a battle of who's gonna be the second wild card team. Is it gonna be one of these teams from the West, or is it gonna be another team from the East? I think that's the reality of that wild card situation.
I would be overjoyed if the Royals made it, though. I think it'd be cool.
Oh, 1,000%. Absolutely. But I think that it's going to be like Yankees are going to take the East, the A's are probably going to take the West, and then like those 4 teams are going to battle out for those last 4 spots. All right. National League, I have the Pirates in last 4 points. The Reds have 10 points in fourth. The Cubs had 14 points in third place. I was a little surprised with that. And then I had a tie for first with 16, and I used the tiebreaker that Julio set up, the manager. I like Craig Counsell more than I like what's his face for the Cardinals, so I put the Cardinals.
Can't pronounce his name either. Don't worry about it.
Ahead of
Me or you, Julio?
Actually, I know what you're gonna say, so I'm just gonna Mike Schilt. Schilt. Yeah. Anyways,
Mike Shit.
The L in my name actually goes to his.
Mike Shit.
Take my L, sir. I have the Pirates last with 4 points. I have the Cubs at fourth with 10 points. I have the Reds in third with 12 points, and same thing. I am tied with the Brewers and the Cardinals at 17 points, and I'm going to give my advantage to the Brewers.
Not me. I have
the bias continues to come out, bro.
I have Pirates last,
this guy.
Reds fourth, Cubs third, Brewers second, and Cards fifth. First. Sorry, now Julio's rubbed off on me now. Yeah, but it's close. I think the thing that is about the Brewers is that it just feels like that's a team that we're certain of who they are, and every other team in this division we don't expect much, expect very little from, like the Cubs, or have no idea what to expect, as in the Cardinals.
That's the funny thing about like this whole exercise is like I feel like the Cardinals are just gonna fucking run away with this division. Like I don't know what it's weird. It's just weird.
The potential's there.
Maybe the stability of the Brewers rotation is what kind of like sold me a little bit, and their bullpen. But like I still like there's just so much pop in that Cardinals lineup that they're just gonna fucking run up runs on people like crazy.
Yeah, I would.
And great defense.
We didn't talk about it much. I would lean, if we were doing defense, I would lean towards the Brewers as like the best defensive team in this division.
Yeah.
And that's kind of one thing that kind of inches them closer to me, because I think I think the Cardinals are like points wise, they're finished first for me, but I don't think it's not like the Royals, right? I think the Brewers could actually win this division. I think even if the Cubs somehow flip a coin and they're the good Cubs again, they could be good. The only we just know that the Reds and Pirates are dog shit. So
to me, if Corbin Burns, I think I feel pretty confident about the Brewers win this division this year. But if Corbin Burns,
the
Brewers win the division, but if Corbin Burns and like Brendan Woodruff go like nuclear and both be all stars this year.
Or
if they both go insane and both are all-stars or something like that, I could see them potentially moving into like that upper echelon with like Dodgers, Padres, Braves. Like I looking at the depth, looking at the potential of that one too. Like I think they have a really good squad on paper. But it all depends. Like, that broke the bops at the top of the rotation, or the boppers and like the Cardinals, and how there's really no holes in that lineup. If the Cardinals can make a trade or get a free agent acquisition for like a legitimate number 3 guy or a legitimate number 2, like if the Cardinals would have got Blake Snell, I'm like, oh dude, they're there. Like they're going to win this division easily. But it's just like that rotation. There's just too many question marks. I couldn't feel too confident about it.
I think you're underestimating Gant.
Ryan Gant.
Yeah.
If it's close to the deadline, they probably will make a move, realistically. Like, and there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to be shopping away their expiring contracts. So we'll see what's up.
Yeah.
Now, before
curious. I don't know, because I'm trying to think of a dark horse for this division, because I don't necessarily consider the Brewers a dark horse, right? Like if the Cardinals are my number 1, I guess it would say like Brewers are the dark horse, but
it's got to be the Cubs,
are
right?
more of a dark horse, right?
Yeah.
The Cubs are more of a dark horse than the Brewers, because I think if the Cardinals win this division, it's by like 2 or 3 games. I don't think it's by I don't think this is clinched like more than a week out from the end of the season.
Maybe I'm just blinded by the talent of the 2 main guys, but I don't know why you guys think it's gonna be closer, but I think that the Cardinals are gonna run away with it. It's weird. I do think it's a 2-man race though.
If I had to pick my dark horse though, I like the Reds.
I love the Pirates, baby.
You said this last year, and the Reds were actually they almost made the playoffs in the 8.
They were in the playoffs. They just didn't score any runs.
They were. That's right.
Then if you're in the playoffs and you don't score a run, did you really make the playoffs?
Yeah, right. But they have I think they have a decent pen. I think they have a great 1-2 in a rotation. It's just like if these older guys, if you can still get some production, out of like Mike Moustakas or if like Joey Votto can still put anything out there, anymore. I think they could. But at the end of the day, they're in a no 8-team playoff anymore. They're not in a playoff team.
For same that we did for the AL Central, do we see 2 teams coming out of this division? Because I do not.
No.
Yeah, I see this as a 1-team division, unless one of those other big teams in the NL like collapses, right? I don't, because it feels pretty locked up to me as far as who your teams are going to be.
Dodgers and Padres are in. Telling you that right now, they're fucking in.
Yes.
Yep.
And in the East, there's 3 really good teams at the top.
Yeah. That's exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
Let's play this game. Oh. Nationals, Brewers.
Brewers,
yeah.
Okay. Nationals, Mets. Or Mets, Brewers.
Mets.
I don't know about the Mets yet.
I don't know about the Mets, but I'm going off of like potential. I think Mets potential is better than Brewers.
I think I'm gonna go with Brewers. I know what you're gonna get with them.
Yeah. Who else is a potential playoff? I think the Braves. It's weird, even though our last week after I added up, I actually had the Mets winning the division. So I was like, oh well.
I think it comes down to, I mean, it might help the Brewers and Cardinals and Cubs, whoever like is in that race, that the Pirates and Reds are so bad. Like the Pirates
exactly, they're so bad that they're just going to kick the shit out of them. Yeah, it's what happened last year.
Yeah, but that's automatically going to, like Chris said, I think that Dodgers, Padres automatically in. So that's one spot already taken, and then so if you're in this division, you just have to. Yeah, I meant one of the wild cards. Yeah. So if you're in the East, you just have to hope if you're in the Central, you have to hope the East is not as good as people say it is. Or actually, no, you hope that it is as good, so the teams beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah. Or you hope that the Mets are all hype.
Yeah.
And yeah. It's definitely close between the Nationals and the Brewers because of the rotation that the Nationals have. But
that's a good call.
Brewers are just consistent. Random March Madness update. Sister Jean only scored 16 points in the first half. So that's...
It was 30. I looked at it
harder
with 6 minutes to go in the half. It was 13-12.
Yeah,
Oregon State. I was like, wow.
All right, guys. I think that'll wrap it up. Unless you have any last questions, comments, or concerns.
Ronnie, thank you for coming. As always.
I have one concern. I'm concerned about Julio's what was it? His rotation list where he he was very high on the Reds, but that's my only concern.
Yeah, Julio's a secret Reds fan. Very concerned. Thank you guys for having me. It's always fun, and this was a good time. So,
all right, we'll be back next week. All right,
with
Chris, right before opening day
with the West, baby.
I wonder who you guys have winning the West.
Again, that's the whole thing about this exercise is where we think
easy 20 points for me for the A's. I'm calling it right now.
Jesus Lozado.
Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with the West preview as well as an opening day preview. So, last but not least, Julio.
Let's go, Oakland.
Woo! The Town Tailgate is an independently produced podcast. It is written and executive produced by this guy, Chris Madrigal, and my partner in crime, Julio Reynoso. It is sound mixed and edited by yours truly. Social media management and marketing is run by, once again, my partner, Julio Reynoso. And a special thanks and shout out to my brother, Larry Madrigal, for composing and producing our theme song, as well as graphic designing our album cover and artwork. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. Please tune in next week. Please subscribe. And last but not least, as we always say, let's go, Oakland.